Last time we spoke, I asked about my Vortex relationship, and you told me not to be worrying about him because I wasn't the Vortex version of me yet. How do I become him? Like, what does that mean?
Well, if we were standing in any of your physical shoes, we'd hook up with our own inner being and everything else will follow. Because when you're looking at a manifestation that hasn't come yet, then you're not your Vortex version. Being your Vortex version was the whole conversation that we've been having with you all along. Isn't it? We'll bring you all sort of up to speed with what we're talking about here. One day, a woman said to us, Abraham, my son is having a really hard time. Would you give me some words that will help me help him get a mate? And we said, oh, we don't think that's a good idea. And she said, why not? Because she couldn't believe we were denying her that. Because she thought that her son getting a mate was what he really needed. And we said, if a mate comes to him right now, she'll be just like he is. She'll be unemployed. She won't like herself. She'll be belligerent at the world. She'll be pushing against things. They'll bang around together and then they'll break up. And she said, oh yeah, that's what's been happening. And before any of you want to couple up with someone else, you want to be offering the vibration that matches the vibration of your inner being so that what you couple up with is a vibrational match to who you want to be, not to a vibrational match to the absence of it. And so the thing that keeps you from finding the relationship you want is your incessant attention to the fact that it hasn't come yet. You cannot focus upon the absence of something. And so you got to get your mind off of that and on something that you can do something about. Sometimes we know that you feel about us when we talk like this, when we're talking about laws and vibrations and universal laws and principles, and we're talking about emotions, and we're talking about the vortex, and we're talking about vibrational things. Sometimes you think that what we are doing is just wanting to distract you from the reality of life. And that isn't the case at all. We want you to engulf yourself and surround yourself with the realities of life, because that's the stuff that the magnificent life that you're living comes from. But we just want you to get real in the now. We want you to bring all of yourself to the table right now. We think that it is really unnecessary for you to be banging around in thoughts that don't match who you really are and then complaining about the way you feel because things aren't working out, when the reason that you feel the way you feel is not because things aren't working out, it's because you're denying who you really are. You've come too far. You know too much. You are extensions of source energy. You must be allowing the fullness of who you are to flow. That's why we've talked so much about getting into the vortex. And then we found some words that work even better for you. That here's this vortex and it's all queued up, but you got to be in the receiving mode of it before what's in the vortex can flow to you. And how is it that vibrations and thoughts, how do they turn to things? How does your economy improve? Do you truck things in from other planets? Have you seen those pipelines from other planets flowing goods and services? It's not like that, is it? It's vibration turning into reality. And so when you understand that this is the energy that creates worlds and that it is at your fingertips and that you can turn your hopes and your dreams and your visions and your ideas of what you want, you can turn them into tangible realities by, in your now, as often as you can, syncing up with that energy that does turn things into the reality that you want. You following? So receptive mode, when we talk about receptive mode, we mean tuned in, tapped in, turned on. We mean in vibrational sync with source. And your inner being is never longing for something that hasn't happened, because your inner being is completely focused in the beauty and the perfection of your now. Your inner being is basking in the diversity that surrounds you. Your being is basking in the beauty that you have access to behold through all your physical senses. Your inner being is knowing the perfection of you and the perfection of the moment in which you stand, and never longing for anything, but understanding that whatever you want will just continue to evolve into your experience as you move in your connection through time, you see. Oh, it would be nice if we could just zap you, each of you, and give you our bird's eye view of the content of your vortex, because you would never feel lack again. You would never feel unworthy again. And we know, you say, it's a vibrational place that I can't quite get. And we say, yes, you can. Just find some reason to feel good now. Just some reason to feel good now. Lots of reasons here. We're in the shade. The lights are beautiful. The roof is really different. You don't get to see this every day. The air feels good. The energy is high. Your consciousness is in a good place. You're beginning to feel your power. Your well-being is evident. You're in conscious connection with source energy. More coming all the time. You're realizing that the condition does not have to control the way you feel. You're realizing that alignment does trump everything. Do you believe us when we say there is no future? When we say your power is in your now, makes it sound like your powerful now will affect your future, and you logically know that you are going to move through time. So you logically know that future will come. But when we say there is no future, what we mean is now there's just now. Now there's just now. And the only thing to do in now is to align with the wholeness of who you are, to perceive through the wholeness of that which you are. And when you perceive through the wholeness of that which you are, since in non-physical there is no time, since in non-physical everything that is in the vortex already is, then you include in your now all that you desire. And as you include in your now all that you desire, your vibrational point of attraction allows all that you desire to pour to you in the now. Did you hear that? Did you follow that train of thought? Are you understanding what we're saying? There is only now. What you are doing with now and your relationship with that broader perspective, when you're looking at your world through the eyes of source, you're not noticing the things that are missing, you're noticing the things that are present. And when you're noticing the things that are present and you're in sync with source, then since you've already sifted and sorted through lifetimes and you've let source know exactly who you are and what you want, and now you are in vibrational sync with it, then your now has to be full of those kinds of things. So it's this lovely rendezvous and this and this and this. Julie said to Esther, I have never met a more cooperative staff. There have never been so many people around the hotel that have been willing to help us. That's a really wonderful thing, you see. The circumstances sort of ask for it, but the result of it was more loving interaction with more people than usually happens in an environment like this. You get what we're talking about? And that is in the vortex. Cooperative components are in the vortex. So what we're saying to you is, even though in your now, sometimes it looks like it's not the way you want it to be, if you don't let yourself go to the scrutiny of what's wrong with it, instead you accept the worthiness of your being to acknowledge that it is working out for me, then in acknowledging that, you're connecting with source who knows that it always is working out for you. Now you're free, now you're in the fullness of who you are, and now you feel fantastic. And do you know there isn't anything that any of you want, whether it's a material object, a pile of money, a relationship or a circumstance or a change of a circumstance or an event, a personal event or a world event. There isn't anything that any of you want for any other reason than that you believe you would feel better in the having of it. And when you show yourself that you can connect with the way source feels, which is always better, whether there's a having of it or not, then the having of it has to come. But when you make the having of it be the reason that you feel good, when feeling good is dependent upon something changing over which you have no control, and you have so little control over things other than through your vibrational perception, now you've got it. Now you're free. Now you're feeling good most of the time. Now you're feeling good most of the time. Now you're not just feeling good, you're feeling clarity. You're feeling worthiness. You're feeling the value of yourself and others. You're feeling pointed. You're not missing things. You're more in tune with what's going on. You can see more of the beauty. The tapestry of life is more realized by you. It's being revealed to you all the time. But most of you miss most of it because you're often not in vibrational sync with who you really are. We know that's changing with you right now. And we know that if there were to be a future, it would be better for you. Don't worry, you're not going to die in this tent. When tomorrow comes, and it will, and it is your new now, it will feel even better than the now that you're experiencing today. That's what we mean. It just gets better and better as your realization of your connection with Source becomes more of a tangible part of your experience. Enough?
Can I ask you just to explain one quote to me?
Yes.
I'm probably going to say this wrong, but
Well, then.
we have never known anyone who was adoring someone to not be adoring them back, but you were sending out longing instead of love. I'm messing up the ending part of it.
I
So
have no idea what you're talking about. Here's something that we say often. When you are standing in sync with who you are, and so you are blended with the love and the clarity and the adoring eyes of the source within you. And under those conditions, then you are holding someone as your object of attention. That adoration flows through. Now, their reception of it is up to them. So what did you think we were saying?
that if you are loving someone, they must be loving you back.
But here's the thing. When you're in the state of adoration, you're getting everything that you want before you were looking at them to adore you. When you're doing the adoring, it is the same as someone adoring you. And you've got control over your connection to adoration. You don't have control over their connection to adoration. You're still trying to pull out all the stops and do whatever it takes to get someone to adore you so that you can feel better. And we want you to leave that out of the equation. We want you to feel better. We just want you to hook up with that which does adore, that which does love, that which is clear, and just focus into the world with that connection for just a little while, and then watch who meets you there. But here's the thing. If you need someone to adore you in order to hook up, then you're not hooked up. And so who you're meeting are those who are needy in the same way that you are needy, you see. Law of attraction never messes anything up, ever. Ever. Helpful?
Yes, I love you. Thank you.